in, Slumpbusters. Welcome in, Braves fans. For the first time since 1999, you are returning to the World Series, shaking off the demons of last year. I know after every single Braves loss, there was the thoughts, man, they did blow a 3-1 lead last year. Man, this is a Georgia-based sports team, but not today, folks. What do we say to the God of Death? Not today, as the Atlanta Braves advance to the World Series. Now, should we, as a Padres fan and a Giants fan, just take this quick moment to reflect in the woes of Dodgers misery? I think yes. I think that is appropriate, as I am glad to say I was wrong. You were wrong. We're both wrong. Going into this NLCS preview, we had the Dodgers. I had them in 5. I think you had them in 6. But the Braves, they just kept on rolling. Just keep playing that postseason baseball through September, carried into October. Biggest takeaway, Atlanta Braves. Kyle, go for it.
I get to be even more wrong about the Atlanta Braves, because I said when Ronald Acuna went down that this was the end of this Braves dynastic run, where they've now won 4 consecutive division titles in a pretty weak National League East. It felt like that was the end for the Braves. This was at the time where Ozuna had just left the team and their starting pitching was falling apart a bit. And then they went at the trade deadline and got Jock Pederson, Eddie Rosario, Jorge Soler, Adam Duvall. All of those guys magically end up turning them into the best offense in Major League Baseball.
Yes, just want to add, Alex Anthopoulos, GM of the year right there, making some big time moves. You mentioned Soler, you mentioned Pederson, and obviously the hero of today's game, Eddie Rosario, and in fact, the hero throughout the postseason for the Braves. This guy is batting almost 500 for them this postseason, had a lot of great hits. Jorge Soler, since being acquired by the Braves, 14 home runs. He had 13 as a Royal this season. So just clutch hitting, clutch moves. And then this lineup is so deep. Man, the Braves, they came out to play. I am really, really impressed with them. I know I cut you off. Any more closing thoughts on them?
I mean, this is just kind of the crazy story that leads the Braves there. Like, when you look at it after the fact, of course the Atlanta Braves beat the Dodgers. And as the Padres fan, this one feels a little cheap to root against the Dodgers, first and foremost because the Dodgers no longer have that World Series curse hanging over them. But secondarily, this one didn't feel like a fair fight towards the end because they lost Max Muncy, they lost Clayton Kershaw, they lost Justin Turner, they lost Max Scherzer, they lost Joe Kelly. Felt a little unfair towards the back end for the Dodgers, but even still, they had a deep lineup. They had some struggles at the top of the order. Trey Turner just disappeared in the playoffs, which is unfortunate for them, but even still, it felt like the Dodgers lost a bunch of people. But for the Atlanta Braves, it makes perfect sense. If you would have told me Eddie Rosario would replicate Ronald Acuna Jr.'s playoff numbers from last season, if you would have told me Jock Pederson would have more RBIs than any single Dodger had in the entire series, then of course the Atlanta Braves are going to make the World Series. That Atlanta Braves team has a chance to take down the really good Houston Astros. And while I don't think that same version of the Braves is going to show up, it's not impossible. It's not impossible to say the Atlanta Braves can't pull it off. But for Atlanta sports fans, isn't this great? Not only do you break your Atlanta sports curse, but you also get to do it with a team that had literally no expectations. You guys were playing with house money at this point. The fact you beat the Brewers was an upset in my mind. So congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. You get to have a fun team that's now playing with house money in the World Series.
You remember how I said after the Dodgers and Giants series concluded that the best thing the Giants did was screw up the Dodgers rotation? That is absolutely what happened in this series, because when you consider Max Scherzer didn't start this game and was questionable for Game 7, he had a horrible Game 2 outing, I believe, where he only made it 4 1/3, which is the second time Max Scherzer only went 4 1/3 for them in this postseason. I think the Nationals, in a way, almost sabotaged him. You mentioned Trey Turner had a bad postseason. Max Scherzer kind of had a bad postseason when you consider 2 short starts there. Then you have to put a little bit of the blame on the manager there, Dave Roberts. You have these guys going in and out of the bullpen, in and out of the starting rotation. You have Walker Buehler, who would have been scheduled for another game, or I should say scheduled for another game on 3 days rest this postseason alone. He had only done that one other time, and the one other time was in the Giants series in the NLDS just 1 week beforehand. You had him going on 3 days rest twice. And then, of course, Urias got the worst of all of them, because he's pitching out there in Game 5 against the Giants. He comes out in Game 2 out of the pen, and then he goes out there in Game 4 to start. what are you doing with this rotation? The Giants definitely did put a little bit of a thorn in the side of the Dodgers when it came to their roster manipulation, their lineup manipulation, and certainly their starting rotation manipulation in this series. And the Braves at this point, like you said, they made it through a dynamic top 3 rotation in the Brewers, a great rotation we thought coming into it against the Dodgers. And now they probably have the best rotation left in the postseason when they line up Charlie Morton, Max Fried, and of course, Ian Anderson. So they're set up going well into this World Series. We're going to give you that preview video here soon, folks. Anyway, that's just our instant reactions. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. Remember, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video. And if you're a Dodgers fan who's a little upset, comment below that salt in the comment section. I want to see all that Dodgers salt in the comment section. Cody Ballinger, got a message for you right here. We will see you next time.
Oh my gosh.